You have 2 TV shows in Pittsburgh, eh?
Actually, in Pittsburgh, I have four.
No way.
Four shows. I have the Stefon Braxton show, Comics on Life. Shekinah House of Prayer Ministry is a show that I produce, and I'm also producing and starring in. Going to be coming out in March. It's going to be starting a murder mystery show, where every month we're going to be doing murder mystery shows on TV.
How cool is that? You probably get big name comics on your show.
No, I
No.
want to, but not yet. I just been really working. Are we live yet?
We just went live and we can talk about that later on the phone. I
Oh,
did
okay.
click live. So that was like 10 seconds ago. I think we're only into this 10 seconds now or so.
Oh, but the my show is like basically for up and coming comedians to give them more exposures. Uh,
Nice.
but I have a lot of what you say established comedians on my Facebook. I just haven't reached out to them yet for them to be on my show because I want to get a lot of more up and coming comedians first.
Nice.
And then I want the established comedians like once a month to come on and give their advice and give their knowledge to the up and coming comedians. But I want to build up and coming comedians platform first before I start having them on.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Anybody, Stefon, anybody I've interviewed, you can reach out to them and say that Linda loves me and she said I could contact you because I'm somebody.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
Just use my name. I'd give you my credit, but it's in the tank. I want to welcome you to, excuse me, I decided to do the intro now because that makes sense. You guys, thank you so much for coming on the Comic Spot daily or weekly, whatever. Today, it isn't about me. Trust me. I've learned to hush up and let the people talk. And today, we have a people here. We have somebody I've adored from afar. And today, I get to be neck and neck with him, side by side, on the same level. Look at this. This is like Jimmy Kimmel right here. Okay, enough with the clowning. On to the intro. Stefon sent me his intro, and I don't steal anybody's words, so I'm going to quote him by his intro. Stefon Braxton, i.e. over in the other square there. Hi, Stefon. Wave to the peeps. Took his stand-up comedy act to the Laugh House from Philadelphia to Atlanta, Delaware, and Cleveland. Stefon also performed with comedian Martin Lawrence on First Amendment stand-up on Stars Network in 2005. Stefon has had a broad career in both acting and comedy. He appeared in several movies. She's Out of My League, 2009. The Next 3 Days, 2010. Off the Grill, 2010. Blood First, 2012. To hit theaters this summer, 2014. Stefon, I'm yelling at you. Stefon also held roles in theatrical plays. When All Hell Breaks Loose, 2007. Hell is Still Breaking Loose, 2008. God, I Am So Mad at You, 2010. Stefon has his own television series on, evidently he has 3 and there will be 4 very soon. He'll talk about that on Pittsburgh Cable Television, which is PCTV. He now hosts the Comics on Life series that started back in the summer of 2013 on PCTV. Stefon's hard work, listen to this, and I underscore. This is the nugget. Y'all want shortcuts, there ain't none. Stefon's hard work and dedication has made it possible for him to be awarded
trophy,
the Comedian of the Year 2011. A legend is here. Stefon Braxton. Woo!
Thank you.
Hi.
Thank you. And matter of fact, here it goes. This
my
the 2011 Comedian of the Year award that I won with some of my other awards that's over there. But this is the one I'm most proud of, though.
Oh, that's so great. How many awards do you have?
I have just awards. I have 3 awards, but then I have like certificates and stuff. I got a certificate from oh my God, what is her name? Congresswoman Maxine Waters, because in 2000, I think it was 18, they had the HUD thing out in Washington, D.C., and they asked me to come perform, and it was so cool. And they wanted me to do like political and jokes like that. And I'm like, I don't have none of them. But I did my jokes and everybody laughed. And I mean, it was really crowded out there. I think that was the biggest crowd I ever performed in front of. And I also have a picture of me with me and Maxine Waters, Congresswoman Maxine Waters, which was a thrill for me to actually meet her.
Oh yes, she's a major legend.
Yeah, she just turned 80. It's either 80 or 81, and she still looks good.
Does she?
Yeah, somebody posted it on Facebook, and when they posted, I posted my picture with her, and they was like, "Oh, you know her, you know her." I was like, "Yeah."
That's so cool. Now you have a dog that came up to you, a white or beige dog. What breed?
Oh, you seen him?
Yeah.
Oh,
I observe. I know how to read. Oh, hi, puppy. Oh my. Oh, beautiful.
That's my Baba. He's a boxador.
Oh my gosh. A white Labrador?
A boxador. He's a boxer and Labrador mix.
So is he a chocolate lab or a white lab?
No, he's, I guess, white. He got white and a little brown on him. I posted him on Facebook, and I didn't realize this, but somebody posted back and said that he looked just like the RCA dog. And I looked and I said, he sure does.
Oh my gosh.
But here's a funny story though. Baba is 4 years old. And I was watching one of Dave Chappelle's stand-ups. I think it was last year. He put out a new show, and he talked about his kids bringing his dog home. And he was talking with the dog, and his friend, the dog follows him all the way around, right? So his friends asked him, "Man, how you train that dog?" And he said, "I ain't trained Baba." And I was like, "How he still my dog's name?" But if you see it, it's on my Facebook page, and he talks about Baba and how he eats. And my dog, he's about a 90 to 100 pounds, and that's all he do is eat. It's food. That's it. If a burglar came in here with some steaks, that's it. They can have anything they want.
Oh my gosh. I had a dog and I went to Tijuana and left him in the van early in the morning. When I came back, we'd been robbed of everything that was in the van. And so we figured that Murphy said, "Come on in, take whatever you want. Just help yourself." I don't really like these people.
Yeah. Well, he's good. Nobody broke in so far, so I guess he's doing his job.
Yes. Good job, Baba. What's his name?
Baba. B-A-B-A.
Baba. Hi, Baba.
Hey, here's another funny story, though. When he was little, when he was a puppy, I used to take him to the store with me, and he'll be outside. We'll be standing outside, and people will come up and pet him. And this elderly lady came up, and she was petting him, but he had a habit of jumping up on people. So I knew he was getting ready to jump up. So before he jumped up, I said, "Come on, bye-bye." And she was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, bye-bye." And I was like, no, that's his name. That's his name, bye-bye. And she left. I haven't seen her again. I feel so bad.
Now, whenever you want to get rid of some older person, that's all you have to do is say his name.
Yeah, I guess that works.
Oh my gosh. So talk to me about who you were growing up. Can I hear your story from your life?
Oh, wow. Me growing up. That is, that is rough. That is rough. Growing up, I have 13 siblings.
What?
And we all grew up together, but differently. We all had the same father, but all had different mothers.
Wow.
But growing up, we all, hung together. And at one point in time, everybody was at the house.
Yes.
So, but my father, he was an alcoholic.
Okay.
And he would take me to school in the morning, and before we would get to the school, he would stop at the bar, and I would go in there with him, and I would go around drinking everybody drinks. And actually, I became an alcoholic, and my younger years, but I always had my sense of humor. I always kept my sense of humor, and basically that's what that was me growing up. I would go to school half the time, and then I would leave and go get beer and drink and hang out with my friends. But the funny thing about that though is I would go to school like when I got a test, and never been in school, never been that whole week. I wasn't there the whole week, but that test came on Friday. I would go on Friday, take the test and pass. And I always been smart, but I didn't take the time to actually study, or if I heard it, I knew it. So I mean, and that's how I got through school.
Beautiful. That's quite the story. My father was an alcoholic, and he took my brother around with him. My brother missed a lot of school, and my brother became an alcoholic. And my dad, he went through the Holocaust, and he taught us kids how to lie, cheat, and steal to survive. And I didn't realize it was wrong until I got to college. I mean, I had heard it was wrong, but it didn't dawn on me.
Yeah, it didn't click in.
No, not at all. Yeah, so we have some things in common. So you were always funny. And did your father and your siblings appreciate your humor around the house?
Sometimes. Except when I have a little too much to drink, then I start talking about people. And later on in life, that got me into a lot of trouble too. Talking about strangers. It just well, I do have to say now it's been years since I drank. I don't drink no more. So that's a good thing about that. But yeah, before that, I mean, once I had a few beers in me, a couple of shots in me, everything was fair game. Whatever you did, I'm going to talk about it.
Oh my gosh.
And a lot of people didn't like that.
You've been doing comedy a long time. And first thing we have to do, us baby comics compared to you, we need to stop and acknowledge your sacrifice. So doing comedy grind comes at a cost, and young people or young in comedy people don't get it. And they go around saying, I'm headlining, I'm killing. And you who have come before us have paved the way for us to waltz in and act like we own the place when you've done the time we haven't. So let's stop and thank you for your dedication to making people laugh and heal, first of all.
Thank you. That's what I love, because I'm 53 years old, I have no aspirations of being the next Kevin Hart or Dave Chappelle. That's not going to happen, you know. But I do comedy just for me, you know. I just like to do it. I haven't been on stage in a while. Well, because of this pandemic, I haven't been on stage in a while. But I'm always making people laugh at work. When I go to work, I'm making people laugh. I'm cracking jokes. But right now, the point that I'm at now, I want to help other comedians, the young comedians, come on up. And you spoke about that, like people paving the way, and then they coming in like they on a high horse. And like with my television show with Comics on Life, I'm calling these up and coming comedians, and I'll send them a message. This is too funny to me though. I'll send them a message and be like, I would like for you to be on my television show. We go live on TV. We go live on Facebook. We go live on YouTube. You get a lot of exposure. It can help you out. All you got to do is call me. I'll put you on the show. They'll send me a text message back. Well, I'm busy right now. I'll call you later on. And then I won't call. And then they don't call. And then I'll send them another message. Hey, you didn't call. Do you want to be on the show? Yeah, I want to be on the show, but and then I go look on their page, and all I see that they doing on their page is open mics. I'm like, you're just doing open mics at the same place. What are you? You're not. You want to try to put yourself out there more, but you know they learn just like I had to learn. So
Yes. I think if I could speak for people at my level, 6.5 years and under, that I think we have to get past our own glass ceiling, which is fear of success.
but you know what it is also, they scared. Some people are scared to come out of their comfort zone. They go to the open mics where you know all their friends are there, and wow, they killing it. They killing it. But you got to understand, you killing it for your friends. They know you. They gonna laugh. They don't want you to look at them and see them not laughing, and you be like, "Oh, why you didn't laugh?" You know, because they're your friends. They gonna laugh. That's why when I first started out, I started here in Pittsburgh, and I did a couple open mics just to get my feel on stage. But then after that, I didn't do no more shows in Pittsburgh. I went all out of town. I went to open mics out of town where I don't know nobody. That way I can get a genuine reaction. And that's what built up my tolerance to like be on stage and look out in the audience and see nobody that I know. And I know if they laugh, then they laughing because of what I'm doing and not because we just friends. That's why I don't even do no more shows here in Pittsburgh. Everything I do is outside of Pittsburgh. And like if I do 3 shows in Ohio, I'm not going back to Ohio. You know, it'll be a long time before I go back to Ohio. I'm definitely doing new states, and that's how I do it.
I love that. I want to go on the road. I want to find a headliner that'll let me go on the road and let me just do a guest spot here and there, and then give me feedback and help me get to feature, to host, to feature. I don't want a shortcut. I want to put in the work.
Right. That's what you gotta do. You gotta put in the work and the time, and then I can understand that some people who doing comedy and still, you know, have a 9-to-5 job. It's kind of hard to do because as a comedian, you gotta be. They'll call you at a drop of a dime and be like, "Hey, we need you to be right here at this day and this time. Can you make it?" Oh, I gotta work. Okay, they move on to the next comedian. So you got to be able to just move like that. And it's good to have a job. I had a job uh, that I was able to do that. If I get a call for a gig and I had to be out of town, I would let them know, hey, I gotta go out. They'd be like, go ahead, don't worry about it, go ahead. So, that helped me out early in my career though.
Talk to me then about the kind of jobs you've done before you went full into comedy. What kind of jobs did you have before you got to this level?
I do maintenance. I'm a maintenance technician. I do maintenance
Wonderful.
for apartment buildings.
That's great.
That's what I've been doing. And
Hard
I
work.
used to work at a pizza shop. And basically that's all I did. I worked at a pizza shop. That was fun. I had this we had this these specials, like these hoagie specials, and this elderly couple came in and they ordered one special and they sat there and he split everything 50-50 between them. And I felt bad and I was like, you know what, sir, I'm gonna buy y'all another hoagie special so y'all don't have to split it. And he got mad. He was like, look, Sonny, we've been married for 50 years. And for 50 years, we split everything 50-50. And I said, well, all right, well, go ahead. But he started eating and she didn't. And I said, well, miss, are you going to eat? She said, no, it's his turn with the teeth. So I really enjoyed that job.
That's a beautiful, beautiful story / joke.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So when did you decide, you know what? Life doesn't make sense without me making people laugh. I'm going to try comedy. And then you got hooked on it and went full into it. What was it that made you decide you're going to try it?
Okay, when I first moved here to Pittsburgh, I'm from Philadelphia.
Oh, yay.
Yeah,
I've lived there. I love that place.
For real? I love it. I miss the cheesesteaks. But I moved here to Pittsburgh in 2003. 2003, somewhere around there. And, I just, at this time, I was just, cracking jokes among my friends, making my friends laugh, making people I work with laugh. And I started going to this church called Mount Eric Church. It's a big church here in Pittsburgh. And I started going to that church and they had a comedy show. And I was on the media ministry at the church. And I did the filming, the camera filming and everything. So I had to film this comedy show. And I'll never forget it. It was Tony Roberts from Detroit. And I forgot the other guy's name. He was hosting it. He's on my Facebook page. If he see this, he gonna be mad. I forgot his name. Oh, Horace, HB Sanders, Horace Sanders, and he was the host, and I was filming it, and I'm watching him, and I'm watching Tony Roberts, and I'm like, you know what? I can do this. I think I want to do that. So the guy that put the show together, he was a part of the church too. And like a week after that, I ran into him and I talked to him and I said, I think I want to try that and I want to do that. And he said, okay, the next one I have, I'll put you on stage. And then that's when it really hit me. I was like, wait, I got to go on stage. I got to write some jokes. Lord, what did I get into? So the other show, the next show came up, which was like 2 months later. And I was writing shows and stuff. And he called me, he said, I'm gonna put you on the show. And on that show, I was with Horace Sanders. He was the host. And a very good friend of mine who just recently passed away, Kool-Aid from Detroit. He was on the show. And Martini Harris was on the show. And Deidre, Miss Deidre was on the show. And I was the opener. I was the first one up there, and it was really scary. And I got up there and I did very well. Not to toot my own horn, I did very well. And I said, this is what I'm going to do. And that was my first show. I still have it here, somewhere around here on DVD. But that was my first show inside a church during the daylight.
Oh my gosh. That's great. How nervous were you the moment you went on stage? How nervous were you? And at what point during your set did you relax?
In the beginning, I was very nervous. You know how you be when you really like so nervous, it feels like you got to poop. That's how nervous. And I was like, oh my God, if I poop on myself on stage, but it really didn't get, once I got them laughing, the nervousness kind of went away because it was like I was just talking to people. And it was about 100 people there.
Wow.
And I was like, I'm cool. I like this.
That's the whole secret too, Stefon, is that if there is a secret, it's to quit talking to people and be with them.
Right.
Talk to them, not at them. Don't do a TED talk. Don't use it for therapy. Be with the people. Right.
Every show, I always interact with the audience. Like, even if I'm not talking to them, like if they do something, they laugh. I'll be like, "Yo, what that funny?" I'll talk to them. I'll be like, "Yo, look what she doing?"
I love that.
And I get everybody into the show. It's like they are part of the show.
That's wonderful. I'm doing a comedy competition tonight, and I'm going to use a few tricks like that, if you don't mind. I'm going to try to pull them in.
That's what you pull them in. Pull them in. I like that.
That's great. That's a really good tip. I'll use my own ideas. I won't steal those. I'll come up
stealing. It ain't stealing. It's one comedian helping another comedian.
Thank you. What now? You've done all of these accomplishments on stage and in movies and plays. What is it you haven't done that you have to do before you meet your maker?
Well, actually, I did everything I wanted to do. Actually, the new show I got getting ready to come up, coming on in March, is called the Murder Mystery Show. It's coming on TV. This will be my last thing that I want to do is direct, and I'm gonna be directing. I'm gonna be producing, directing, and also starring in this murder mystery thing. And we just did one on October 30th. We did one. So for everybody that's watching, if you go to my Facebook page, you can type down, and it's the Murder Mystery Show, and it's Who Killed Lenny Trombone. That's only a half-hour long one, but it's really funny. It's really funny, and that was the first one we put out, and so you can go on and watch that. But then, starting in March, every month there'll be a new show coming out, and just like Comics on Life, it'll be on TV, Facebook, and on YouTube. And I'm about to start my own Comics on Life podcast, where I'm trying to work on that, doing my own podcast.
Talk to me about Comics on Life. What's the premise behind it?
Comics on Life. Well, I was doing the Stefon Braxton show. I already had that established on TV, and I wanted to do something different. Actually, I was up about 3:00 in the morning, and I'm watching TV, and Comics Unleashed came on with Byron Allen and sitting there with the 4 comedians. And I'm like, I'm watching the show, and I'm like, well, basically, all he doing is asking them pre-existing questions that they already done told them to ask so they can do their little comedy thing. And I said, well, that's kind of good, but I want to take it to the next level. So that's when I decided to do the Comics on Life, where it will be live, people calling in. You have no idea what is coming up. Everything is off the top of your head. And that's how I wanted Comics on Life. And when I started Comics on Life, actually I started, that's a little misprint in my bio. I didn't even notice that until you read it. But we started Comics on Life in 2000. Actually, October of next year will be 10 years. We've been on the air. And when I started, it was 5 comedians that I worked with before, you know, on stage. And I called them all up and we had a little meeting at Eaton Park. And I gave them the idea, told them what I wanted to do and everything. They agreed to it. We did the first show and it was picking up. But then one comedian, she moved out of town. The other comedian was like, you know, we ain't making no money. I can't do this. I was like, well, okay, go on, do what you gotta do. So I kept the other 2 comedians with me, and we've been on the air for a while until this pandemic. And so when the pandemic hit, the studio closed. So we couldn't do Comics on Life from the studio. So I'm always thinking I take it to the next level. I said, well, we're going to do it over StreamYard, Zoom, or whatever. We're going to do it and put our shows out there and still be on TV and on Facebook and on YouTube. So I contacted the studio. I made arrangements for us to do it like that. And the other 2 comedians that was with me, I sent them out the link and everything. I said, okay, this is going to be our first show over StreamYard. And I sent them the link. And to this day, I haven't heard from them since. So I've been doing it by myself. And now, when we was in the studio, the furthest comedian I had would be from Ohio. Somebody from Ohio would travel up just to do the show. But basically, it was just Pittsburgh comedian. But now, I'm doing my shows. I got California, I got Arkansas, I got Alabama. I got people from all over on the show, and I'm loving it. I'm getting to meet people, and the comedians that I'm having on my show, they're very funny. They're very funny, and I just sit back. I give them the questions. I sit back and I be cracking up.
Oh my gosh. You know, that is asking comedians, newer comedians, questions. I hope they're bringing a notebook because that's where I get all my jokes. If you were to ask me 5 questions, I would have 5 new jokes.
Right. And that's why, and I think this is another a way of comedians to build up their repertoire, because like you just said, you take that, if you on a show, within that whole show, if you don't come out of there with at least 5 to 10 jokes, new material, I think everybody did come up with new material, because we be having fun, and they don't realize how fast their brain is working when we ask a question, and then somebody else will answer, and then their brain just click on, they say something, and it just makes it more funny. That's your routine. That's a routine right there for you.
It is. I'm on a show. I'm a regular person that comes on a show, and all the audience gets to answer questions on Monday night. And every time it's kind of like they play that Paul Lynn match game or whatever it is, where Paul Lynn was in the middle.
And Hollywood Squares.
Yeah, that's the one. And every time they ask a question, everybody is trying to match with each other. You know, who can say something they think the other, and I'm trying to do the opposite. I'm trying to see to it nobody can come up, and I have so much fun shocking them, not in a bad way, just like, how crazy can your mind go?
Yeah, that's what I do with Comics on Life. I get the questions from people that email me, and then sometimes they comment while we going live. And the ones that email me, that's where I have like a little advantage, because the other comedians that's going to be on the show, they don't know the questions until actually the show. But I do know, and when I get the questions, I think of the most outrageous answer I can think of, and then that's how I get them to start thinking a little bit out the box. And they be like, okay, he went that way, I'm gonna go this way with it, and think the most outrageous answer you can.
Oh, you think like I do. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So talk to me about the very best and the very worst you've experienced in comedy that you never were prepared for.
The very best. Actually, I can't really think of nothing offhand, except for one, and both of them happened at the same night. I went to go do a show at the Funny Bone in Philadelphia. And I mean, it was a packed house, and it was hosted by Toure. And actually, he had called me out to come perform there. And it was a lot of other comedians there. Sean from Detroit. I cannot think of his last name right now. He's a very well-known comedian.
Sean Lynch?
No.
Sean Keen?
No. Black guy. Sean. Oh man, I'm on my phone right now. I can't. If I can go to my messenger, I don't want to do that. But his name is Sean, and he's from Detroit, Michigan. But anyway, he's gonna be mad at me.
It's okay, because you're getting put on the spot. Don't be mad at him, Sean.
Sean, Sean, Sean. Oh, I can see his face right in my head. I can see his face.
Is he from Philly or from Pittsburgh?
He's from Detroit.
Oh yeah, you're right.
He's from Detroit. Sean Larkin.
Oh, Sean Larkin. Okay.
Sean Larkin. I'm so sorry.
That's
okay. Anyway, it was me and Sean Larkin, and it was a couple other comedians, and then the other comedian from Arkansas, Steve O or something, the black guy with the dreads, and he got the real high voice, sound like a girl, and he be talking about his voice and stuff. He was on the show, and I was the second one to go up. And at this time, in my point in my career, when I first started doing comedy, I did comedy no cussing. I didn't cuss. I didn't do no vulgar jokes, anything. I did clean family comedy. And in Philadelphia, they really did that. The audience, to me, they was laughing, they was clapping, they seemed to love it. I mean, I didn't see no problem with it. But when I finished my set, Toure, the host, got up there and he just talked about me like I had bombed or something. And I'm like, why is he talking like that? And it was me and my mother. My mother was right there with me. And he was talking, and then the audience, they started getting at him, like, booing him, like, yo, dude was good. Why are you talking? And I don't know whether or not it was jealousy or what, but he started talking, and then the other comedians that came up after me, and they started following suit with him, started talking about what I talked about and everything. And I was like, you know what? This is kind of crazy. But Sean Larkin was a friend on my Facebook. So after the show was over, I messaged him, and I asked him for some advice. I was like, I thought my set went good. I don't know why Toure went like that on me and all this. And, you know, I asked him, what was it? Maybe it was because of the clean comedy. And he messaged me back, and I'll never forget it. He said, you know what? Keep doing what you're doing, because clean comedians make more money than other comedians anyway. Don't dumb down your material for anybody else. Do you? And that, because at that point I was about to give up comedy. And when I got that message from him, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna keep going. Now, here's the good part about comedy. The Funny Bone is on South Street in Philadelphia.
Yes.
And South Street is open till like 2:00 in the morning. So me and my mom was leaving, and I was still feeling a little like, should I do this? Should I stop? Whatever. We walking down the street, and 2 blocks from the Funny Bone is this pizza shop. And they have a pizza shop on the bottom floor, and on the top floor is like the little bar. And and we walking by, and they had this sign right there on the corner, open mic night. And I said, you know what, Mom, come on, let's go on up in here. And I had on this like leather and fur coat, right? So I go on up in there, and when you come, this was so funny. When you come up the steps, like, it's like when you get to the top of the steps, you come round and then you go sit down. But right there is the stage. So when you go sit down, you're walking right past the comedian to go sit down. So when I walked past the comedian, he started talking about my leather jacket and, you know, oh, we got the drug dealers coming in and all this now. And you know, he got a couple of laughs. And I kind of took a laugh at it too. So one of the guys that was running open mic down there, he had seen me down or heard that I was down at the Funny Bone. And he came up to me. He said, well, we know this is just open mic, but would you like some time on the stage? I said, yeah, sure. I'll take some time on the stage. So after the guy that talked about me had finished and he went off the stage, he went and sat by the bar. Then the dude introduced me, and I went up there and I walked past him with my coat on. And he looked at me, he was like, oh crap, you a comedian? And as soon as I got up there, I said, look, brother, I'm not even gonna, because the dude, when he introduced me, he said from the Funny Bone, traveling all over and all this. He knew I was a well-established comedian at this time. So when the dude looked, and he was like, he had that look like, oh God, don't talk about me, don't talk about me. I said, look, man, George just said, I'm not even gonna talk about you. And I did my set, and I killed them. I killed them in there. And I said, you know what? Thanks to these people and to Sean Larkin, I'm still doing my comedy now with a whole bunch of television shows.
So
I want to thank y'all.
Wow. That's a great, great story. I hate to say stories. So funny. Wow. Wow. So if you're now helping aspiring comedians through your TV show, Comics on Lyfe, in PCTV in Pittsburgh. Mm-hmm. So what is it that you can do as one human to help aspiring comedians on your show? What's your forte that you do to help them?
Well, basically it's just to give them like more exposure. Yes. And another thing is too, is when I first started the Stefon Braxton show, I would have comedians on from Pittsburgh. And this is what killed me. I would tell them, it's a television family show, no cursing. And I cannot tell you how many comedians declined being on TV because they said, they don't think they can do a show without cursing.
Yep.
Or they don't think that they funny without cursing.
Right.
Well, if you think that you're never going to make it. You're never going to make it, because there's going to be a point in time you're going to have to do a show without cursing.
That's right.
And it's going to be for somebody that can either make or break your career. And if you can't do it, they don't want you.
Right.
I did, and that's why with Comics on Life, I tell them, this stuff, no cursing. You can take it to a certain point, but don't cross that line. And every comedian that I had on there was able to do that. So I know they have a bright future if they stick to that and know when to do it and when not to do it. Now, after that show that I did in Philadelphia, I did started getting a little bit more raunchy, and I put a little curse words in my act. But I've done shows at churches, and I killed at churches. So in front of ministers and pastors, I've done shows. So I know I can do both. That's what I want to teach these other up and coming comedians. You got to have both. You got to have both a balance.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's what I'll be trying to teach them and getting them to, do that.
Yes. I think it's a beautiful thing to have a comedy set and be able to do that set clean, and then know when you're in an audience that will allow you to sprinkle it with a little bit of spice, but not have the jokes rely on the shock words. Is that kind of what you're thinking?
Did it. Yeah. Because you can do. I think if a joke is funny, it's funny, whether or not it's curse words in it or not. If it's funny, it's funny. But a lot of these comedians, they inspiration or who inspired them is people like Cat Williams or Eddie Murphy, who does a lot of gussing. And they think, well, all I gotta do is smoke some weed, go up there and curse a lot, and I'm gonna make it. No, you're not. You're not. You're not gonna do it like that, because a lot of people. I did a show in New York, Gotham Comedy Club, and it was a lot of comedians performing. Like I think like 15 comedians was performing, and I was like there like 10. I was the 10th comedian to go up or something. And these comedians are going up there and like every other word was cuss words, cuss words, cuss words. But I happen to look, and I'm looking at the audience, and I see Jerry Seinfeld in the audience. And I'm like, and every time I was looking at the comedians and I was looking at him, and every time they was cussing, he was like, put his head down. Because his whole act, I don't think he ever cussed in none of his acts. And every time they was cussing and every time they got vulgar, he was like looking around and looking. And I just watched him the whole show. When I got up there, I did my whole set clean. Did the whole thing clean. Not one cuss word was in there. I think the most vulgar thing that I talked about was condoms. And that wasn't even, I said that joke's in churches. And after I finished my set, everybody was clapping, and Jerry Steinfeld gave me a standing ovation. And I actually cried when I seen him standing up clapping. And I was like, yeah. But he left before the show was over. He left. I didn't get a chance to meet him.
Oh, that is so beautiful.
And then that really made my night right there.
Oh my gosh. I would have that plastered all over my Facebook.
I did. At the time it happened, I did I had some pictures with me. And after the show, like the people in the audience, they was just coming up to me, want to take pictures. I should have sent you that picture. I got pictures on my Facebook of at Gotham with and it was an all white audience. I love that. I love an all white audience.
I love an all black audience. Oh my goodness sakes alive. I love it.
Yeah, well, I don't. I mean, because it seems like when I do a show, especially if it's in the hood and you got a black audience, it's like the more they drink, the more they want to be the comedian. And I'm like, I'm not a good heckler person. You know, somebody's heckling, you know, I really don't. That's why I always get my check first. That way, if I get heckled, I can just leave. I already got paid.
Yes.
But I tell, like, whenever I'm doing a show somewhere, I make sure that, I talk to the owner and I make sure, hey, security, if anybody's, yelling out, hollering out, please tell them to be quiet or escort them out. I don't do hecklers. And I know that's a skill that you gotta like learn. But, I noticed, like, when I go, like, I went to see Kevin Hart one time. He had sent me a ticket. He was here in Pittsburgh, and he sent me a ticket, and I went to go see him. And they tell you right on the beginning of the show, no cameras, no recording device, no talking loud, because you will be put out. So if you heckle, you're going to get put out. So that's why I figure once I get to that point, nobody heckle me, security get on. I don't got time to do that. I remember before I even started doing comedy, I had won because of my sense of humor and talking about people, I went away for a while. And when I came home, everybody know that I love Richard Pryor.
Yes.
And he was doing a show in Atlantic City, and my family got me tickets to go see Richard Pryor. But it was at that stage where it was like right before, I think this might have been his last or next to his last stand-up, because he came out in a wheelchair. He couldn't even walk out on stage. And I mean, I was just happy just to see him. And you can tell when he came out, he had the wheelchair and he had all his jokes written down and had them on the floor. And he was looking and trying to remember and reading. And this guy was just heckling them all through the show. Now, when Richard was in his day, back in his prime, I mean, you wouldn't dare try to heckle him. And if you did, you got told off. But at this point, he wasn't able to really like do that. And this guy just kept trying to bait him to do it. And after about 45 minutes, he left. He just went off stage and cut the show early. And I think they beat up that guy after the show, but I still got a chance to see him. And to me, he was just a genius. To me, he made me laugh without even speaking a word. Just his face expressions, and he was just a genius, man. And he was humble. He was very humble. He did his.
That's right.
To me, he was a genius because all he did was talk about him. That's all he did was talk. All his heart attack, him getting burnt. He talked about his tragedy, and when you can do that, I think when you get to that part as a comedian where you're just talking about you and the stuff that you're going through, you made it. You made it. You don't need nothing else in this world to talk about. If you're just talking about you and you making them people laugh for an hour, you're a genius and you got a really messed up life.
Oh, I've got something. You go ahead.
but that's what it takes to be a comedian. You got to be able to talk about people and talk about yourself too. And I talk a lot about myself. I do stupid stuff. So
that's wonderful. I would be so upset with myself if I didn't ask you this next question. So you've been around the block, you've been all over doing comedy, and there's this saying out there in the comedy world. You ask someone senior to you in comedy, and they'll say, oh, just learn to read the room, read the room, read the room, read the room. You tell me what that phrase means to you, please.
Yes, I learned that when I first started, and that is very
It's not as easy as they make it sound.
it's very hard. That's why a lot of comedians don't like to go up first.
Yep.
Because you want to see, but you as people coming in, I watch the people as they coming in and sitting down. I watch them, and I kind of notice, well, first of all, the first thing you're gonna notice whether or not it's an older crowd or a younger crowd, or whether or not it's black or it's white, or a lot of females, a lot of males. That's the first thing. That's the first thing I look at.
Okay.
And this is not really something that I look at, but I'm gonna tell you this little story. Some comedians need to do this. You look at who's promoting the show and who are in their family in the audience.
Whoa.
We had this one comedian. I was doing this show at the Improv, and the promoter of the show, he was all right little guy, a little goofy little guy. He was somebody that as a comedian, yeah, you would kind of like pick on. But he was the promoter, and half his family was in the audience, right?
So funny.
So this other comedian that went on a little before me didn't pick up on that. And he started talking about this guy, and the family was like, boo. They was like, they didn't laugh. And he started off with that. And they didn't. But here's the funny thing though. Every joke he said, this guy that was sitting like in the back, he was like sitting like in the middle part of the audience. I don't know what type of phone he had or what he had, but he had the cricket sound, like the church, the cricket sound. So every time this guy did his joke, he would hit the cricket sound, and everybody would hear it. We can all hear it, and it was so loud because nobody was laughing at this guy's jokes. So now we laughing at the cricket sound. But I guess the comedian, he couldn't hear it on stage. He thought we was laughing at him, and he just kept on going. And it was so funny because we laughing at him, not with him. We laughing at him because of the cricket sound kept going off. But yes, I look at and first of all, I don't talk about people in the audience. I might ask them questions, and like for instance, everybody asks the question, how many people married, how many people dating, and you'll get that one person or two people that be like, hey, I'm married. Hey, now I know I can talk to this guy because he got energy and he's enthusiastic. I can talk to him. So I would talk to him for a little bit about marriage, and I would say my jokes while I'm talking with him. And dating is the same way. As long as people got energy, that's how you fill out that crowd. Pick out who got the energy and focus with them. Draw them in. And as you draw them in, more people gonna come in and they're gonna start to feel more relaxed. And once they relax and everybody, it's like y'all sitting at y'all living room having fun. And that's the way I like to do all my shows.
That's amazing. That is such great advice. Thank you for those gems.
And another thing, that's why when I'm approached to do a show, I make sure it's not a wired mic. I always want a cordless mic, because I will get off the stage and I will walk through the audience and just talk to people.
So what do you do when you walk through the audience? Like, what would you like? Nice shirt or?
I like, where you from? What you do? Or like when I do the marriage thing, I walk up, how long y'all been married? And then, I'll go to the woman and be like, oh, she got a different answer. Stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Crowd
I'll
work.
talk to them. And I have another, a very good comedian friend of mine, Sharon Daly. She does that, and she walks through the audience, and she can actually do a whole show just doing that, because she'll have me cracking up. That's why I need a cordless mic, because I don't know when I'm going to go off that stage. And I move around a lot. So
they say that in comedy, it's in your footwork. If you don't have the strength to have the footwork and you're just standing still in front of this, that you're not as interesting, you're not as deep of a comedian, and it doesn't bring your energy, and you're not in the moment as much, or like a boxer, the footwork.
Yeah. I always stay moving. And because, like, if you just standing, it seems like it's a person's perception. If you just standing there telling jokes, it seems like it's more boring than if you was moving around. If you're moving around and you're excited and you're doing your joke, that get them excited. If you just standing there and you just like, knock knock, who's there? They're gonna be like, oh damn, he kind of boring. You know what I mean? But you move around, you talk, and you get in, you have fun. So that's what I do, and that is a good thing. You gotta stay moving around. And I know sometimes you in a club and you in and sometimes they got these little 2x4 stages you can't move, but you can always move. You move, get off the stage if you have to, walk around the floor.
When I started doing comedy, the comedians, they didn't want to hear me talk because I was the old person in the room, and they just assumed that I was either racist because of my age or boring or out of touch, and I would literally do sit-ups through my whole set.
Ooh. Hello?
Hi, we're there.
Yeah, my battery, I forgot to charge my phone.
We should get going because we've been on an hour, but I did sit-ups for the first year of my comedy just to keep the young people listening, because I was boring.
I have another comedian friend that's on my page, and she's an elderly woman. And when I first, I think I was doing a show with her, and they had us on a flyer, and I seen the flyer, and I was like, look at this old lady on here, right? And I didn't know what to expect. And trust me, when she got on stage, it was nothing that I expected. And I think, you should, after the show, I'll text you her name. She's on my Facebook page, and she is hilarious. And
I'd love to know her name.
She's an older white lady, but she is funny. She is very funny.
That's great. That's great. I love stories like that. I want to hear her. I want to hear some of her comedy.
Yeah, she is
we
funny.
Need to get going. Okay, and we need to get going because I've been on an hour and your thing's running low. And so I want to give you the next couple minutes, however long you want to take, to say anything to up and coming comics or people listening. Shout out to your shows again. Anything we can do to promote you. You get the whole stage now.
All right. Well, my advice to up and coming comedians is actually to anybody. Um, Whatever you love to do, go on and do it. Don't worry about what you've done in your past, what happened to you in your past, or how old you are, or anything. Just go for it. Just go for it and do it. And I mean, I didn't start comedy until I was in my 40s. So it doesn't even matter how old you are or what you've been through. Just go on and do it. If you got a love for it, trust me, go on and do it. And even if it's not in the entertainment field, if you have a passion to do something and you find a job, if you find a job and you love doing what you're doing, it's not even a job no more. So that's the way I look at everything. And so I want everybody to watch Comics on Life. Comes on once a month. You can watch that on. If you're watching here in Pittsburgh, you can watch it on Verizon Channel 47, Comcast Channel 21 in Pittsburgh. And if you're not in Pittsburgh, you can watch it on Facebook Live and YouTube Live, and pretty soon to come on the podcast Live. You can watch it. Also have SHEKINAH House of Prayer Ministry, which I produce. That comes on every Sunday night at 9 o'clock. You can watch it on PCTV, or you can go to the PCTV website and you can just click live at Sunday at 9 o'clock and you can watch that show. Stefon Braxton's show will be coming back on the air soon. So look for that. And in March, I'm producing, directing, and starring in another show called Murder Mystery Show. So y'all can prepare to watch that. And that will be on TV and on Facebook and on YouTube Live and on a whole bunch of other pages on Facebook and hopefully on my podcast too. Also, I got another. We just finished filming last summer. We just finished filming Lover's Life. That should be out on. It should be coming out on Netflix soon, but you can watch a preview on YouTube. The trailer. The trailer is on YouTube. It's called Lover's Life.
Go in there now.
Yeah, and it's spelled Lyfe. Lover's Life. And I just got the script today for another movie that I'm doing. We're going to start filming that in the spring. It's called The Passport, and that'll be coming out. We'll start filming that in the spring, so I don't know when that's coming out. And I got another script we doing. What's the name of that thing again? Who killed? No, Who Liked the Beef Stew? It's a comedy. It's a comedy. Who Likes the Beef Stew? And I'm gonna start reading my script on that tomorrow, and that should be out around in March. So look for that in March coming. And I'm just trying to stay busy.
You're tearing the place up.
Yes, and if you're watching, my Facebook page is Stefon Braxton. And Comics on Life page on Facebook. Please like the Comics on Life page and the Stefon Braxton on YouTube. Please subscribe to that channel. And I think, do I got anything else coming up? Movies, plays? Oh, we got another play coming up. I just signed the contract for another play. I didn't get the script for that yet, but that's going to be done here in Pittsburgh. And hopefully, if it gets picked up big, we might start touring with this play.
Vegas.
Yeah. Well, I don't think they have a budget to go all the way out there. We might have to go by megabus. But I think that's all I got going on. The movies and the television. That's it.
So I would like to request that all of those things you just said verbally, will you type them in a text so I can add them to this post, please?
All right, I'll do my best. But like I said, I'm in my 50s, and it takes me like a year to text.
I'll just go back to the video and write it down. Don't worry, I got your back.
No. I'll send it because I'm glad I got these new phones because I can hit that microphone and just talk and it do the texting for me.
Okay.
That's my granddad. That's my granddad style of texting.
I need to find me a boyfriend far away where he can just talk into a microphone and I'll feel him.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Stefon Braxton. And my last question, are you related to Tony and Tamar?
Those are my cousins.
Oh, that's so cool. She came and she did a show for veterans, and she called my friend from Loma Linda, California, up on stage to do some singing with her. He could not forget that. I was like, enough already.
Well, you know, as comedians, we lie like, that's not my cousin.
Oh, it's not. Oh, you got me. I'm gullible.
But I tell everybody, as soon as they ask me that, I'll be like, yeah, that's my cousin.
Then the next question,
then the next question, they be like, well, something about her money. I be like, she ain't got no money, she broke.
No way, that's crazy. Yeah, but we're really gullible.
But I wanted to say this one thing to all your listeners out there. Make sure you watch Comics on Life December 12th because Miss Linda Smith will be on the show, right?
Oh my gosh, yes. What time is that, please?
Well, 5 o'clock Eastern time, so I guess that's 2 o'clock. Would you forgot you were going to be on my show?
Yes, I forgot it. I forgot it. God. I'm so bad. December 12th, I want to make... I wrote it down, but in the moment right here, I forgot. I'm so sorry. You did invite
December 12th.
You did
December
invite
12th, and I'm gonna send you the link. I'll be sending you the link to it soon.
I don't even know how to get a link ahead of time.
Oh no, I'll send it to you in the email. When I send it to you in the email, and it'll be in blue at 5 at that time. You just click on it, and it takes you right to the show.
Thank you for reminding me and putting up with me. I just appreciate it so much. I'm sorry that it escaped my memory.
Don't worry about it, because I almost forgot about it too. But I'll call you.
That's so nice of you.
When I send you the email.
The whole time I was sitting here, I was like, I hope I one day get to be on his show, and I totally forgot I'm already booked. Isn't that crazy?
And that's going to be a good show. We got one comedian from Maryland, Vegas, I think Detroit, and Ohio. It's going to be 5 all-female comedians.
Yes, that's right. That's right. All females.
So that's going to be interesting.
Wow. We can do this. Thank you so much. When you get me the flyer, I will post the heck out of it.
Yeah. Okay. And thank you for letting me be on your show. This was very fun. I had fun.
I had fun too. I'm going to look up the whatchamacallit that you had asked me to find in the last hour before we went live, the slideshow, and I'm going to get that to you because it's cute. It's a really cool music and pictures of you.
Oh, cool.
I'll get it for you.
I'm going to save that.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much, Stefon Braxton. Have a blessed day.
All right, and I'm gonna send you a couple messages now.
Yes, please. Thank you.
All right.
Love you.
Thank you so much. And everybody have a good night.
Night. Bye, Baba.
Say bye-bye, Baba. He's asleep.
Baba. Aw. Bye. Love you.